Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to First Issue Tech, Episode 1, Mission 16. We're right back at it again. Welcome back, folks. Welcome, Courtney. Dude, it has been a good one. How are you?
I'm good, man. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Every day above ground is a blessing. Let's talk about these Amazon gift cards real quick. Don't forget to hit the poll so that way you guys can have a chance to win one of two. Actually, there's really four, but there's another way.
Secret.
There's really another way to get the other two, but we can't tell you yet because originally we told you that there was a $100 Amazon gift card, and then the last episode we told you it was $50 Amazon gift card. But there's still $100 out there. Well, 50 out there, but there's a secret way to get 50, and you have to stay tuned for details. But they may be in this episode. They may not be in this episode. It could be in the first half. It could be in the second half. You got to stay tuned to listen, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, welcome to First Issue Tech. Mission after mission after mission, you guys have been here with us. And we just want to say thank you very much because it's because of you, your comments, positive and negative, is why we're still here. Because we aim to improve. And we thank you very much. Okay, now this is where you cue the applause.
We can just roll with it. Bam, so what is on the menu today?
Right now, we got a little bit of lobster and shrimp, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk iTunes on Windows, in the Windows App Store. Apple, you don't have to, on the iPhone, you don't have to have a credit card to use Apple Pay. We got some great news coming out of Build 2017, some juicy details from Microsoft. We're talking Scorpio, mixed reality. We're also talking about something real cool that scientists did with 3D printing. We're just going to touch on that real quick because we want to just give you guys some little info on what's going on out there in the medical field. Acer, we're going to talk about them and their little their dab in the mixed reality realm. Then you've got iOS goes to Rome. You know what that means? If you don't know what Rome is, you're going to find out. And then we got the straight path deal with the wireless carriers. We're going to talk about that too. So grab your weapons, get your armor on. We got another mission.
Locked and loaded. Boom. So one of the most clickbaity titles of all the articles we've gone through today is probably the iTunes coming to Windows, but not quite in the way that you think of. It's coming to the iTunes or coming to the Windows Store now,
for the first time in history.
Yes. Now, two things I was going to say is that seems like it took a little too long, and two, this is really only important because if you go back two missions from us, we were talking about the brand new Surface Books coming out that are running on Windows 10s. Now, Windows 10s only allows you to install applications from the Microsoft Store, the Windows Store, which means you wouldn't be able to get iTunes without this partnership. So that's the main reason why this is happening. But do you think there's any other possibility for this could really help them out besides that?
Yeah, I think Apple just finally decided that they need to really think about their core audience, and not every iPhone owner uses a MacBook. So they figure there's more Windows PCs out there in the world than any Apple device, and that's a very true statement. People don't like to believe that, but it's true. But for Apple to take the iTunes application and put it into the Windows Store, and it's the full iTunes, you don't miss anything. You're going to get the full service of iTunes running on Windows ARM, or running on ARM, which is like the best version of a few years back, Windows RT. ARM is great because you can run the full program, or you can stay with S. So you got Windows 10s running, and you got your iPhone, and you pop it open. You got your music. You whatever you buy from the Windows Store, you can either buy from the Windows Store, you can buy it from iTunes and sing it to your phone and go. I mean, for me, for Apple users, it's a win-win. For me, being a Windows user, and iPhone user, I think it's a win, and I'm not mad at that at all. I like that. Plus, with the future of Windows 10, especially with the next rendition of Windows Mobile, to have the iTunes, I would come on. Imagine having a Windows phone with iTunes on it. Please, your library syncs and you have everything. You just hit play. You can't lose.
It'd be like the Zune 2.0.
Yeah. Say like you're a business. You work in an office, and you're not allowed to use your personal phone, but you get assigned a work phone. Your work phone just happens to be a Windows phone. Okay, download iTunes. Keep your music. That way you don't have to go totally crazy using a Windows phone if you're an Apple user.
All right, so segueing over, one little thing we mentioned earlier as well is that you can use Apple Pay without syncing a credit card to it, because a lot of people want to try and use that contactless billing or contactless payment, and they don't. And now you don't even have to have a regular credit card or a debit card or whatever, you shady and...
No, it's not shady. It's totally legit. You have to use Square Cash. You have to use it. So what you do is you set up an account, and then you send money from your account to your Square card, which is a digital card that you can use to pay. So you don't have to worry about it overdrawing your bank account if you're one of those people on a budget, or if you're paranoid that somebody's going to steal your information. Then you set up a Square account. You have your Square card, and you just send money to the card, and no one can access your real funds.
And that's a crazy. If you can convert totally to that, if you're one of the people that want to live super off the grid, that's totally super on the grid way to get to it. But that's basically bouncing to a prepaid account and then using it through a completely encrypted method. Man, no one, if you don't have your card on you, no one's going to steal. Hey, no one can get anything from you.
Are there any fees involved on that? Do you know?
As far as I'm aware, no. Square keeps everything.
So if I put $100 on there, I have $100 to spend, because I might use that for when I'm out running or something, and then I don't take my wallet with me. I mean, I have my ID and my dog tags with my name and information on it if some emergency happens. But when I take my phone and I want to pay, instead of using my bank account, I can use those pre-allocated funds.
Tap and go, get you the Gatorade, get you whatever your protein bar, and be on the way to go. Just hope you don't stop at a backwoods gas station that still has to the card.
No, every gas station I go to, you leave with a happy ending.
I'm not touching that one. Not at all.
No, I'm just playing. So what do you think is one of the coolest features about this Square Cash?
The more features we can get linked into the contactless billing, like Apple Pay, even though I personally believe Samsung Pay is superior, it's not going to catch on nearly as fast as, or at least the adoption rate's not going to be as good. So anything that can boost the adoption rate of Apple Pay is great, because that means it's more incentives for the retailers to have those NFC terminals. Yeah. More incentive for them, more money to be made, more likely to have that, more people trying it. It's a win-win for everyone, because if everywhere took NFC payments, whether it be Android Pay or Apple Pay, even if it was only Apple Pay, that's fine. But no one would have the worry of the scammers going around and going whatever methods they do. I don't know their whole things, but there's so much more encryption involved. It's practically, at this point in time, it's definitely the safest way to pay, period.
Okay.
Because of all that technology in there. So, yeah. It's
all that back-end encryption on every transaction. So do you mean to tell me if I go to a small mom and pop and they're a bunch of crooks because of whatever reason, I tap and pay with my phone, they can't get my information at all? There's no way for them to take my bank account money, but if I swipe my card, then they can steal my money?
Definitely. There's plenty of ways to get information from a card, especially if you use a magnetic strip. Easiest way to get it. As far as I'm aware, You have to be some next level NSA kind of hacker to get through the Apple Pay encryption. Because first of all, you're going through Apple. When's the last time you've heard Apple actually being hacked? Legitimately hacked.
Yeah, like 2 months ago, where they stole all those IDs and they told Apple they want like 250,000, or else they're going to start shutting down accounts.
Yeah, we saw how that happened, how that ended up, right?
Yeah, Apple paid.
Did they really?
No, I'm just messing.
So I'm like, we definitely would have heard about that.
But they did prove that they had accounts because they provided real account information, and then that account information was verified through different media sources.
Well, that's iCloud information. That's not payment information. But that does pose some questions we'll get into another day. That's a whole other can of beans.
I mean, regular people are gonna be like, "Well, my Apple account was hacked." Just like the same regular people say, "Oh, is that a Samsung phone? Is it gonna blow up?" No, you mean is it a Note 7? No, yeah, those people. That's all right. All those people gonna need to get stung by a damn Scorpio anyway.
Scorpio?
Yeah, I know it's a scorpion, but I said Scorpio.
Is that your hint of you want to talk about potentially Xbox Scorpio integrating this mixed reality?
You know it. Let's move on to the Xbox.
Well, before we get into that, I just want to sit down and have like a good old fireplace chat about mixed reality in general, because mixed reality is one of the hardest things to explain.
Okay, so this is what we're going to do while we have this fireplace chat. Ladies and gentlemen, do you hear that fireplace? The fire crackling in the background? I hope you hear that fire right now. So during this whole segment, you're going to sit with us. We're going to put our feet up. We're going to listen to the crackle in the fire. And Dr. Kyle is going to explain to us what mixed reality is.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining. Grab your Starbucks, grab your Dunkins, and just sip and relax with me a little bit. Now, the main thing that confuses people with mixed reality is because it is a very weird or unconventional merging of both virtual reality that we know of now and augmented reality. When you start to break down the differences between those two is where mixed reality starts to come in. Now, with virtual reality, everyone kind of gets that. You put on a headset and the real world is gone. The boundaries, everything around you is gone. You are now in that virtual world. Augmented reality, i.e., not exactly Google Glass, but the HoloLens specifically, is one of the biggest examples. Pokemon Go, kind of. I mean, there are augmented reality apps, but more high-end augmented reality is simply, and I mean at its core, it's simply placing things on top of the environment around you. It's not changing the world around you. It's not really using real-world parameters other than what it sees and what you see. So it's mixing a little bit of virtualness on top of the real world that you see, i.e. Google with HoloLens looking up and you can see reviews of the hotel that's next to you or the restaurant, or getting directions kind of placed right over top of your field of view while you can still see the real world. Now what happens with mixed reality is it gets a little more interesting. It's a much more bumped up version of augmented reality, but it takes a lot of virtual reality's aspects. So it starts to render in new things using the parameters of the world around you. So the best example of this is, imagine you're in your room right now. If you are in your room right now, cool. Take a look around. Now you know when you put on a virtual reality headset that your room's gone. With mixed reality, it opens up the potential to not just throw an extra screen on your wall. It offers the ability to see your wall, see the four walls around you, and whatever else is in front of you, your dressers and everything, and incorporate a virtual world on top of all of that, but seeing the walls and seeing the boundaries. So you're able to get up and walk around in this virtual world, but you still have the very real boundaries around you. So you can completely change up the room around you. You can, throw like some extra foliage and stuff in there to see what it would look like. Change your wallpaper. or who knows, even just throw like a whole wall of TVs, little things like that you can get into. But it's still, you're still kind of in the same basic boundaries. The world around you is being perceived and changed into something virtual, but you still have that real connection. You still have the walls keeping you into where you are, or if you're outside, it'll do the same, but with the boundaries around you. That's what makes it so unique, and it sounds like a little more complicated, but if you just jump into seeing something without really getting that core explanation, I think that really kind of ties it together the best I can. Whew. That wasn't really fireside chat. That was more like a Bill Nye rant.
Yeah, I was hoping that we were going to have a fireside chat because, the sound of the fireplace sounds really nice right now. But you were just kind of just... Have you ever heard cats? Have you ever heard cats having sex outside?
I can't calm down. And yes, I have.
Yeah, because it kind of sounds like that. Like they're killing each other. That was your rant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Does that portray it at least a little easier for you, or was I a little off?
No, actually, you were very, very, very accurate on your not on your fireplace chat, but on your explanation of mixed reality. Now, how do you think, based on the stats of the Scorpio, how do you think the Scorpio is going to handle mixed reality? Because Sony hasn't even attempted to tackle mixed; they're just going straight virtual. And mixed is where it's at. Can you imagine? Like, I'm not a Call of Duty player at all. I don't really care for the game. But imagine having that FPS that you're into, and it's a mixed reality. You're moving through your home, or you're climbing or ducking over furniture. Like, you are in the game. How do you think that the Scorpio can handle something like that based on the information we have now?
That's something that specific case would be something that would be best left to, like setting up a specific place for it. But for something I get the core idea of that.
All right, let me rephrase my question. I'm sorry for cutting. I just got to rephrase it because I don't want you to not really understand what I'm saying. Look at the videos that came out with Microsoft explaining with the HoloLens and their mixed reality, and these are like blank slates pretty much, or just standard living situations. And you put the glasses on, and everything becomes a surface that you can utilize. And so basically, do you think the Scorpio has enough power? And with that power, do you think the developers, since they have the systems now that are overclocked to where they can make sure they can really push their game to the limits of whatever tech we have available today, do you think that with the power of the Scorpio, the devs are really going to truly push to get the maximum bang from their titles?
I believe
I can fly.
I believe I can touch the sky. Anyway, I don't think the core system itself is going to be anything of a hindrance for mixed reality. I'm going to say that if they want to push that, even for what you mentioned, your first example, definitely I think the system can push it. What's actually going to be its main limiting factor is going to be the headset itself. Because the headset itself does still need an onboard chip. And its cameras and its sensors are going to be what dictate how well of an experience you have. Taking back, for an example, the Kinect 1.0 versus Kinect 2.0. If they had dropped Kinect 2.0 first... Now I know it didn't have the power. The system probably didn't have enough power to run that much of or that accurate of motion tracking. But if it had dropped that first,
it'd probably still be alive today.
it would have had a much better chance. Yes.
Yeah.
So same thing with any new budging technology, but particularly with virtual reality and mixed reality too, because the second that it takes, the first time it takes a couple extra seconds to catch up and notice that the end tables, you're about to bang your knee against the end table and it can't see that in time.
Well, it doesn't. Your view is not obstructed. That's the cool thing. Your view is not obstructed at all.
Yes and no. There are experiences that can actually fully.
No, the headset is the HoloLens, or unless you're looking at like the Acer mixed reality headset or something where you're totally in darkness, then yeah, you're absolutely right. Then objects in the way would be a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, the HoloLens is going to stick to being its own thing. HoloLens is augmented reality specifically. It can't be mixed reality because it's an overlay. It's strictly augmented reality. Whereas you do need a virtual reality headset or a modified virtual reality headset to push mixed reality, because you need one that has the extra sensors and the cameras on board. So yeah, that's why I say it really depends on what Microsoft can put as their headset.
Mm-hmm.
If they can make it affordable and if they can make it good. What Sony did right is they did make it kind of affordable. In fact, technically, it is the most affordable virtual reality headset on the market, hands down, by at least $250. I believe roughly $250. Oculus is. I know they've gone through some price drops.
Oh, the Oculus Rift is $600 right now.
Okay, so it's only $100 less.
Yeah, it's $598.
But you still need an $800 computer instead of a $300 or $400 PlayStation. So
what about the $800 HTC Vive?
Look, anyone that's getting into that already has they know what they're getting into.
Yeah, they have a full room dedicated to it in their home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something totally out there. Anyway, not to distract too much, but yes, I do believe Scorpio has plenty of power. It will have all the power it needs to push this kind of stuff. It won't be full. It won't be the full experience. I don't believe it'll push super high resolutions. It still will be lower than your HTC Vive in terms of what it can push out. But it is up to the headset to get all of its sensors and all of the technology in the headset right, and it will be no problem.
Okay. Well,
it will stomp all over everything else.
The Acer mixed reality headset is on board. We're talking
super affordable.
Yeah. Sorry. I got lost in my thought. I just totally blanked out, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it's $400. I can't believe that you're getting a mixed reality bundle for $400, where you have that combination of AR and VR that our nice Dr. Kyle here was explaining to us on our couch as we listened to the fire.
Got barraged. The fire coming from the
And then
mouth.
he just grabbed a hot log and started beating us with it. You could just hear the tone in his voice. It wasn't really calming at all. I was planning on having a nice, relaxing listen. I was going to spill my dirty secrets. But
maybe next time.
Not in this session. So, all right. So, what about the iOS going to Rome? Now,
Rome, when in Rome.
See, people think Rome like the place, the city. No, Rome is a project. It's an SDK that Microsoft launched for iOS developers to help ease the pain of developing their apps all over again or their games all over again. So that way they can segue them right on over to Windows. There are more Windows users in the world than iOS. So iOS developers would be crazy not to take this opportunity to monetize on. Bring your stuff over to Windows. Have it running on Windows and iOS. And when you bring it to Windows, make it just as good or better than the iOS counterpart. Because some of these devs have beautiful apps on Android, and then you get the app on iOS, you're like, what the hell is this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so essentially, um, the term API kind of reached out to me a little more because that base core code allows it to speak. What basically we're talking about is this is going to allow developers to make apps, Windows-based apps, on iOS that can now freely speak with their Windows-based counterparts. The Windows app can talk to it, migrate between the two, and can even actually cast between Windows devices too.
Nothing like that remote access.
Mm-hmm. So it's giving much more power and allowing to, instead of just being stuck in your Apple ecosystem, you can have these Windows-based apps in the ecosystem all talking to each other on all your different devices without having to be an Apple device. So it looks like more and more developers getting more and more ways to kind of circumvent the Apple ecosystem and to make it a little more open, which I think everyone can kind of appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's a win-win for devs. They just have to do it. Jump on board. You're not getting on the bandwagon, and if you are, it's a smart move. It's the right bandwagon to be on. Get on, use Project Rome, and what's that saying goes? As in Rome, do what the Romans do.
When in Rome.
When in Rome.
Close enough.
There you go. It's my version, whatever. No, you're right. Correct me when I'm wrong. When in Rome, do as the Romans. So come on, devs, get on it. Now, this is one of the coolest things that I won't blah 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 blah. Sorry, got a little bit of the tech Holy Ghost. Verizon outbid AT&T for potential 5G spectrum, and it's funny because T-Mobile just got the most low frequency spectrum that basically covers the entire country from the federal auction, but this is something a little bit different. And a lot of people may not have heard of this because here's this company called Straight Path Communications. Now, Straight Path, they have over 700 licenses for the 39 gigahertz band and over 130 licenses for the 28 gigahertz band. Now, these are still low frequencies, but they're not as low as the 800 megahertz or 600 megahertz spectrum. But these frequencies, what they're going to do is, now this, I'm sorry, let me go step back a little bit. This spectrum basically covers our entire country in every place. And there won't be a place in this country that they won't have service, which is kind of scary because Verizon is the devil. Come on, look, they redid their logo and put the check on the top. Basically, those are horns. All right, let me get off of that. So this company, Straight Path, they've been in the business for a long time, but they never did anything. And the government said, look, you guys have the spectrum, you're just holding it. You have to sell it. So I love how the government just steps in and says, look, you got to sell it because we said so. But it's gonna help increase the performance of LTE. It's going to take advanced LTE to a whole nother level, since LTE is long-term evolution. And right now we have a standard for 4G LTE. We're still in negotiations across the board for 5G standards, but we're coming real close. I believe the minimum download speed acceptable to be 5G is going to be 1 gigabit per second. And with these spectrums of 39 and 28, that's going to be a piece of cake. So imagine having your phone pulling 3-4 gigabits down. I just want to know, how is that going to affect battery life and these devices? Because 2 years from now, that's not too far away. We can go to sleep tomorrow and wake up 2 years later.
True. I don't see a battery life impact too much because it's only going to pull the data it needs. But I just want to throw my 2 cents on this whole move. Is it's a total dick move from Verizon, because all this is going to do is it's going to give it since they have the high bandwidth or the high frequency spectrum pretty much owned at this point.
Yep.
They're going to, and it's mostly the top markets in the U.S. So all of the most populated area, they're going to have access first to the highest bandwidth, meaning they're going to get, again, the highest speeds in all of these major areas, and they're not going to give a crap less about all of the rural areas and getting better service out to them. They're just going to take care of the money makers, the people that keeps coming, oh, I get the best service here. Their numbers are going to come through. They're going to stay on top because T-Mobile is about to get that total nationwide coverage with all that low frequency. They're going to be able to get to the rural guys. They're going to get to Farmer Joe.
Mm-hmm.
But Farmer Joe's not going to make them look like, the tech messiah.
No, you're right. They're not. And the cool thing about what T-Mobile, the low spectrum that T-Mobile is using, Sprint is going in a similar direction. So if, say for instance, they do merge and become one giant company, they're using both low frequencies so they can completely blanket the United States as well and push 5G through the low frequency and totally compete, hands down, with Verizon. What's that?
That would definitely make them the most reliable service provider.
It absolutely would. And if they keep the rates down like how they have them right now, T-Mobile and Sprint merges. Yes, unfortunately, people are going to lose their jobs. But if they keep the prices lower than AT&T and Verizon, and they keep continuing to do these uncarrier things, it's going to force Verizon and AT&T to continue to adapt, even after Verizon just outbid AT&T's bid by almost twice the amount, like $3 billion plus. All this money they're going to spend, that's okay, because T-Mobile and Sprint, once they become that single company, their debt's not going to be anywhere near as high, and they're going to be able to push this out at an alarmingly fast rate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically, if you've renewed your 2-year contract or you just signed a 2-year lease today, you did good, because in 2 years it's going to be a totally different battleground.
Oh yeah.
So stick with.
I was gonna say not 2 years, even like a year, maybe 7 months from now, when they still in Sprint and T-Mobile start pushing out the low frequency spectrum, boosting on the current macro where they increase their speeds to almost a gigabit down, which AT&T and Verizon aren't doing right now. So they can kind of start reaping, like getting a little sample, a preview real soon. But no, you're right. It's good if they just signed a 2 year. Go ahead, you can finish it.
No, I like what you're onto. I mean, obviously, if you're in the market, now is going to be a real tough time, because not only do you have a bunch of crazy new devices coming out this year with doing different things, but you're going to have all the carriers just flip-flopping and doing everything. We're in a generational gap, and if you've never been through a passing of the generation, it's going to be weird. So the best thing to recommend is just kick back, grab whatever beverage you prefer, and just wait for it to blow over. But if you're super techie like us, you get to gamble on a bunch of things, and you could be burned, or you could be the tech pioneer. You could be on the greatest new network with the greatest new device of the year and tell everyone about it. Tell everyone about that gigabit speed and how you can totally take advantage of anything past 50 megs down. Who knows, maybe once you get that Snapdragon 835 on a phone that doesn't totally sap its resources away from a skin, you might actually be able to reap some benefits. That modem's killer.
That's very true.
But we'll see all about that, and we'll see maybe next time you come back, we'll have a little bit more to know about a device specifically that doesn't use TouchWiz, which I was hinting at, because we get more and more details about that OnePlus 5 little teaser.
It's coming.
Next mission.
It's coming. Oh,
all in your face.
See that OnePlus. Every time I hear its name, I get a little bit of movement in my pants. Let's
Mm-hmm.
see.
This one's gonna be the one.
Oh, that's what they say. We'll see. All right, this is now this is some serious tech, ladies and gentlemen, and I have to change my tone a little bit about this one because it's really interesting to me, and it could be good or it could just be a sign of the scariness to come. I'm gonna read this kind of verbatim and kind of on the fly as I talk about it. The headline that caught my attention was "Scientists Hit Milestone in 3D Printing Human Cartilage," which is interesting. Now, once I started reading the article, one of the very first things I saw within 20 seconds was stem cells. There's a huge controversy to this day about stem cells and the research behind it and what you can do. But a lot of people are misinformed. And I think stem cell research is very important. And we should be able to use it to help heal different body parts or even regrow certain things, because stem cells, I don't know the proper terminology, but I would say like an amoeba, or they're an anomaly because they're neutral. They don't have a left or right, up or down, until you apply the stem cells to a certain set of tissue or genetics or DNA. So if you need to help regenerate your spine or muscle growth, and you're having, and drop some stem cells in there, boom. But yet I'm dumbing it down a lot, yes. So please just listen. Don't yell and scream of like, what the hell is he talking about? I'm dumbing it down, trying to make it as simple as possible. But the research was a collaboration between scientists from Belgium, and Acta Shalagrinska. Totally butchered that, but it's SAHLGRENSKA Academy and the Chalmers University of Technology. Their latest scientific journal reports that the researchers designed a new process for producing cartilage. And the cartilage is, the stuff we have between our joints to help ease the pain, help our bodies and bones function, move better.
Your nose and ear.
Yep, the cartilage in your whole ear is shaped by cartilage. Your nose is cartilage. So if you say you needed like facial reconstruction, your face got bashed in from Kyle getting mad at you because you had something to say about his AMD. You just need to go to the doctor, and they don't, why it won't be as expensive, because they can go right to that 3D printer and print your old face for you and cut your face open and put your old facial structure right underneath it and close you up, and then after the swelling goes down, you look normal. But yes, I'm making it a lot simpler than the actual process. So think about patients that have hip injuries or knee injuries. You can reprint this cartilage, and you can replace that joint or that body part. Think about what it can do for these guys that want male enhancements. The chances of infections would be almost zero because it's cartilage. Can you imagine having a cartilage-filled penis?
I think there are a few other reasons why you wouldn't want that, but I'm really kind of curious into that. I'm mostly knee replacements and everything else. People going, arthritis can be cured.
Yeah, I mean,
granted, it's really painful surgery, but
you can do that. You can regrow. You use your body parts to fire or some type of assault or an attack by an animal. Like you get your ear bit off or your nose bit off or your face destroyed or different parts of your body, or say you get burned in the fire. All of that can be fixed. All the the 3rd degree burn scars, all that tissue can go away. And you can look and live pretty much a normal life. Now, it's not 100% right now. It's still heavily under development, but the fact that the breakthrough is there. So, I mean, the future is going to be very interesting. I would really just like to have a few hundred nanobots inside my body curing everything that was making me aged and sick and slowing it down so I could be here for it. I'd love to see what happens in 500 years from now, you know.
We're definitely making some cool stuff. New cool stuff every day. I mean, just the potential of curing arthritis right there really has me going. Like I say, with the knees, foot, hands. Just imagine if Grandma didn't have a blown out knee. She could ditch her cane and start walking around.
She play basketball again.
She'll have better. She'll feel like she's 14 again, at least in those things.
Yeah.
She won't have lung capacity, but that's crazy. Because that's the one thing. That's one thing we've always known is, you know, once the cartilage is gone, that's it. There's nothing we can do about it right now. I don't know. That to me kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, so imagine now all of a sudden you can do about the loss of cartilage. It won't even be an issue. It'll just be some surgery, and you just keep on going about your life.
It's beautiful. It's an amazing tech-filled world we live in, and I'm glad we get to talk about it and share it with you guys.
Yeah.
Always something new.
Absolutely, and we try to keep it as interesting as possible. We don't want to bring any topics that you guys that we don't think you would be interested in. So we go through tons and tons and tons of different news to try to grab some things to keep you guys engaged. But that's going to be the end of today's mission. We've made it through. Very few injuries, no casualties. I just want to give a big shout out to my partner in crime, Kyle here. Thanks for having me on here. Thanks for doing this with me. I appreciate it.
Every day.
I want to thank all of you beautiful people out there for sharing your time with us as you did whatever it was, your commute, your cleaning, your walking, whatever you're doing while you're listening to us. We appreciate that. Big shout out to my man Deuce Legend over there at Xbox and his team at Xbox, which is Team XBLN.com or XboxLiveNetwork.com. Check them out. If you got any Xbox gaming questions or looking for news or tips or tricks, you need help with anything, great community over there, just like we have a great community on Xbox Live. Check them out. Tell them Sleepy the Don sent you.
All right, thank you very much, Sleepy the Don, aka Courtney. It's been wonderful. Thank you guys every day. Thank you for letting me yell at you about mixed reality because I'm just so hyped about it.
Well, I expect to hear
keep
some
your eyes
fire
out.
crackling when it's edited. I want to hear some fire in the background.
What you talking about? They already got some fire. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Good
Be the
night.
best.